Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Today we are going to get into the Big Brother live feeds from Monday, Tuesday, and a little teensy piece of Wednesday morning. We have quite a bit to talk about because we've had renoms, we've had conversations after renoms, alliances fracturing. I mean, the house, again, completely different state than last week even. I feel like every single time something happens, people shuffle all around, and we've had a lot of game talk. We've had a lot of game talk. So let's jump into it. I don't want to be here too long, so let's go in. So Monday we had a series of feed cuts because we had both the regular POV ceremony, but we also had Kelly, who had the opportunity to play her game and potentially take herself off. So there wasn't a whole lot of talk before the first feed cut, but Amy and Ashley, they do kind of have this conversation.
Spend as much time as we can. I don't know how much time we have left, and that was
But that's
2 days
because
ago.
a few days ago, he was wanting Adrian to stay over you.
About how Jimmy needs to go. And that is definitely a focal point that certain people definitely start to come into the forefront for others. And Jimmy is one of them. A lot of people are picking up Jimmy's sort of messy behavior during this HOH. Why did he put up the people he was going to put up? Why is it that he chose this route? So the feeds do cut for the very first feed cut. And we do come back to find out that, of course, Keanu used the veto that was won for him by Casey to take himself off, and therefore Amy does go up on the block. So Mickey and Keanu are immediately speaking after.
It's awkward for all the rest of us. We gotta start over again.
No, that's, you want to break an alliance up, that's how you do it.
No, I know, but it's I won't be with people that I know we're not gonna do.
After this ceremony, and one thing to keep in mind is that Keanu's stock, it starts to go up a bit. As these 2 days go on, you're going to see that there are people that definitely have said, wait a minute, why are we getting out Keanu when one, he's a target, but number two, he's also willing to take a shot at Rachel. Again, a lot of people are starting to realize maybe we shouldn't be so comfortable with the fact that Rachel's around and hey, we want to take the shot at her, but we don't want to have to be the actual one to take the shot. So let's leave Keanu in here. So Mickey and Keanu do have these light talks of a potential alliance. For Keanu, he feels like Lauren and Adrian are the most trustworthy people in the house. He feels like no matter what, they look you in the eye, they say something, they are telling the truth. But overall, Keanu is aware that Lauren would likely vote with the Jimmy side of the house, so that's probably something to keep in mind. And overall, though, the two of them make this sort of light deal that they're not going to come after each other. If either one gets HOH, the other one's not going to go up. So we'll see how valid that alliance really is, or alliance. It's not a full-blown named alliance, but we'll see how valid that truce really is. Another person who comes into the forefront is Ashley. And Ashley and Amy, they have been talking a lot. And people start to definitely recognize that Amy and Ashley are sort of, they've been like this.
Yeah, if you can get the 7, they will vote to keep you. You think so? I know so. That's the part I'm not sure of. I know that. Okay. For to be true, I think more.
We see a lot of different conversations between the two of them. And remember, Amy is definitely starting to try to distance herself from Rachel a little bit. She was talking a lot of mess about Rachel overall, saying that Rachel is sort of the reason why she is in this position. And I just found that to be kind of a weird angle. And Rachel is also one of her greatest allies. But anyway, they get into the vote and Ashley is trying to reassure Amy that she really just needs one more vote. She needs one more vote and then she's going to be safe to stay. I find that interesting because I'm like, Ashley girl, who are you talking to though? Just curious. But in either case, she does feel that Amy would probably lose against Will because at the end of the day, Mickey is not going to vote out Will. And that's a big thing. Mickey is definitely a vote for Will, like a definitive vote for Will. So they know that they maybe might want to try to work on Mickey, but they'll have to see. Overall, though, they do feel that against Adrian, Amy would likely be fine. Okay. So Will and Mickey are talking, and remember, this is prior to Kelly playing her game, so Will's not quite up on the block yet at this point.
I feel like I'm further down. You give me more insight with it. but I feel like I'm further down.
But Will is like really feeling down. Will had a moment where he just was straight up like, I don't even know. I'm probably not going to win against any of these people. What's even the point? Will got very, very deflated with this entire thing. And this was even before he was up. And Mickey essentially gives him a pep talk and is like, yo, words are powerful. Words are very, very powerful. So make sure to be careful about the way you talk about things. And she just tries to bring him up overall. Remember, Mickey wants to keep Will here and Mickey likes Will, but at the same time, again, if you get deflated and you choose not to really have conversations with people, I don't know, that definitely starts to look some type of way. Keanu is activated again, and remember, this is post the next read-up ceremony, and he is really trying to push for Rachel to go up.
I don't want you to feel the pressure to do that because everyone else is saying, oh, we have this beef, right. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
And I'd like to think that we're good, but I also understand.
First, he tries to suggest to Jimmy that Rachel has a power, and Jimmy's like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely take that into consideration. We'll have to see. Then he tries to say that Rachel has actually manufactured a lot of the beef between the two of them, and that a lot of things that have been being said have actually been being spread throughout the house by Rachel. And he's just pushing really, really hard to Jimmy. During this conversation, you could definitely tell Jimmy's like, yeah, I hear you, Keanu, but I'm just not doing it. But Keanu does try to give his push real hard to get Rachel up on the block. And again, I gotta be honest with you. I am sort of with Rachel because I am a bit confused about what exactly it is that Keanu had to hinge on to that made him feel the way he feels so badly about Rachel. So anyway, Morgan and Mickey have a quick conversation to sort of fill each other in, and basically, Mickey fills Morgan in on how Keanu is coming for Rachel hard. She does let her know that he is not coming for her because, again, remember, Morgan's been extremely paranoid that she's in danger, that all these different people are coming after her. But also Ashley. Ashley is another name again being thrown out that she is coming for Rachel. And remember, Ashley, as I said, she has definitely started to get activated. She has definitely started to kind of draw her lines in the sand. And her and Amy, remember, she and Amy have also been a lot closer. So, and you know, Amy herself is starting to try to distance herself from Rachel. So, very interesting. So the Jimmy irritation saga continues with Rachel. Rachel is complaining because she feels like Jimmy's been walking around the house with her crown on, with his HOH robe. And again, it's just the little things where you can definitely tell that Jimmy's starting to grate people's gears. They also clean the house from top to bottom, and there's a little bit of an incident with Ashley because apparently Ashley says, I'm not cleaning this house if I don't even clean my own house. So again, add that to the sticky note of things that Ashley has said to people that has kind of irritated her. And lastly, Rachel and Jimmy, they have another moment of sort of searching around the house for clues. They have magnifying glass. They're looking around trying to find any and everything. But the feeds do go down again for Kelly's game. Feeds come back up and we find out that Kelly did indeed win her game, meaning that Will was the replacement nominee. And of course, this leads to a lot of irritation. More people being irritated with each other once again. So Amy is very irritated with Mickey, apparently. It's not very clear, but she comes back to the feeds on. She's complaining to Will and Rachel about Mickey.
She has the power.
She has the power.
She has to have the power.
She
Oh,
does.
the last power.
She has to.
She does.
she does, too.
Absolutely. She has
I
the
think she
power.
does too.
She has the power.
And Mickey's gameplay and this and that. And I'm like, okay, Amy, girl, please. They're also, for Morgan, she's a little bit confused because she's like, why wouldn't they just chop Ashley? What would be the reason to put up Will? Which, again, I kind of agree. I don't necessarily get the meaning behind putting up Will, but I think at this point, Will, Ashley, I imagine they're weighed the same for a lot of different people. It doesn't make sense, though, because especially Jimmy has been one of the main contenders in the, like, Ashley is so annoying club. So it doesn't really make sense why he would choose Will instead of choosing somebody that you feel irritates you, that you feel is threatening your game in some capacity. I don't really get it. Morgan, Will, Amy, Rachel. They all talk a bit after this ceremony, and they're of course debating first about whether or not Mickey has the power. So again, keep in mind there is definitely quite a bit of a group of people who do think, is it Mickey? Is it potentially Mickey? And again, this is definitely starting to irritate people. You definitely hear Mickey's name starting to come up in conversations. And of course, it threatens Mickey actually being able to use this power, because the whole point is that she steals the HOH secretly, and the HOH has to guess. So if everybody thinks that it's her, then it kind of nullifies the power, or at the very least makes it where she kind of has to team up with the HOH to use it, which may not be Mickey's intention, especially if she wanted to use it, let's say, when she's on the block. So again, they're kind of going through things. They then jump onto Keanu and how much of a liar Keanu has been. They start to compare notes again about what Keanu has told this person and what Keanu has told that person and what Keanu said here and what Keanu said there. But in either event, for Morgan, she's really grappling with it all. She doesn't want to see either one of them go. And we do definitely start to see Morgan once again get activated. Morgan, I feel like, has a pretty rough couple of days. I mean, Morgan, she is one of those people that talks at you, not with you necessarily. And I'm not saying she's a terrible gamer. She is a constant gamer, though. She is always gaming. Whenever the feeds are on Morgan, she is laying down some plan to somebody. And I feel like Morgan is very, this is my plan, and you're gonna hear it. And I'm not saying I think Morgan's a fairly good player on this cast, but I do think Morgan definitely has a forward personality, and right here, right now, I think this activated up Morgan for the week yet again. Kelly has a conversation with Mickey and Ashley outside, and Kelly is bragging. She's talking about how America's gonna think she's so great because she won 2 competitions, and oh my goodness, they're gonna think I'm awesome. They're gonna think I'm the coolest. And it's like, Kelly! And reading the room, it's not there, especially knowing that Mickey likes Will and Will is up. And keep in mind, this does come back. Mickey does remember, hey, like, Kelly was literally outside bragging as Will is on the block. Like, that's horrible. She doesn't read the room. So little things like that, again, are what start to grate people's gears. And being Kelly and already being somebody that people don't really like you just keep saving yourself. Not the best look to be bragging about how America's gonna think you're awesome for pulling yourself off twice. So Zach and Adrian, they have a check-in in the storage room, and Zach is like, look, bro, you're my number one. You're my number one, okay? Remember that. I'm going to try to work on people as best as I can, but I want to let you know that I want you here. I need you here. So again, in immediate lock, we already know that Zach is a lock for Adrian, and keep that in mind. Let's keep the mental tally in mind, because you know how people are all over the place. Will and Mickey. So Mickey lets Will know off bat, I do not agree with this decision. I am not a part of this. I don't know what this is all about. At the end of the day, I hope you can take yourself down. But if it is you versus Adrian most definitely has got to go. Will is still very down in the dumps at this point, and he's like, I just don't see it. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that I am pretty much gone. I mean, Will, I don't know. Will was very down about the fact that he was up, and I feel like he got very deflated and demotivated. And Mickey's like, well, keep in mind the fact that Adrian comes in second in every competition. You don't think that that's going to make people see him as sort of a comp threat? Overall, at this point, Mickey is like, look, me and Ashley, we are willing to let Amy go for you, no matter what. We are 2 locked in votes. And I was like, okay, keep that in mind. But they start to go through votes, and Mickey is also like, Morgan, Zach, Kelly, Ava, and Lauren would also likely be willing to let Amy go in your favor. And on top of that, Jimmy's not going to vote you out in a tiebreaker because he already feels really shitty about putting you up. He already feels like he was like a terrible guy for putting you up for no real reason. Obviously, I think Will is a bit skeptical about it. Mickey feels like she's real solid on that. But again, some of these people that you're listing are a little wishy-washy. And depending on who gets to them first, those votes might change. So Keanu, Vinny, and Will have a conversation, and Keanu and Vinny in particular, we see them have a lot of conversations over these next couple of days. It does seem like they're forging something. I don't think they have a named something, but they're forging something. Anyway, Keanu is convinced that Amy is going out. He's convinced that that's what's about to happen. And they both do agree that that's what they're picking up from other people. And I'm like, but you guys only talk to select people, Keanu and Vinny. Do I think Amy is 100% safe? I do not. I actually think this vote could go a lot of different ways, and we see people thinking about things a lot of different ways, but hey, Keanu's up. He is awoken. He is activated as well. So Vinny and Will do have a little bit of a conversation. Vinny's like, I'm gonna be real. I feel like you're one of the people that I've spoken to the least in the house. So I just want to kind of get a gauge of where your head is at. Because Vinny does like Will and he potentially wants to see him working with him. But overall, he's just not that sure of where his head's at. So Vinny does throw out that he really loves Morgan, Mickey, Zach, Ava, and Riley, though he's not that sure of Riley's game. And he's trying to gauge with Will, are you on the same page? So Will does claim he's on the same page. He does really like those people as well. And again, they come to terms with just where each other is sitting at the game. The two of them don't really have one-on-one conversations all that often. So Morgan runs to Rachel again. And if there's one thing, Morgan will frantically run and word vomit a whole bunch of stuff on you. And it's a lot. It's a lot. But Morgan this time is basically telling Rachel, hey, Keanu's coming after you, okay? I don't know what you heard, but Keanu's coming after you. And I think he's hearing everything from Jimmy.
She was like, no, we don't want Keanu up there, da-da-da-da. But apparently somehow, and this is why I think Jimmy is stirring shit. And wait.
They make sense because he'll talk to Jimmy and then he'll come back with all these ideas. So things must be happening and Jimmy must be blaming it on you. Rachel's like, I know. Rachel's like, I know he's coming after me. I understand. There's nothing I can do to make Keanu like me. At this point, he has his own opinion on me, and I know that our relationship is pretty much done. So basically, thank you for the info. I get it. I got you, girl, but I just don't. There's nothing I can really do here overall. Morgan does talk about how she wants to see Jimmy in jury. She really likes him. She keeps saying that over these few days, that she likes Jimmy. She wants to see him go at least to jury, but he is definitely starting to irritate her. And Rachel's like, look, I can't control what anyone does. I can't control Keanu. I can't control who he puts up, who he's coming for. All I can really control is my game. So Morgan does attempt to work on Zach a little bit with this vote. And I'm like, girl, you are wasting your time. Ain't no way Zach is flipping. But Morgan essentially tries to lay out that keeping Amy helps Rachel be a shield for them, and it's worth it to keep Amy for that reason. I don't know. Felt like kind of a futile argument. Another one of those Morgan, she comes and she about it. But they do go through votes. They start to count votes, and they both say that they would keep Will over Amy. However, Zach, no matter what, is keeping Adrian over anybody. So anyways, Mickey and Ashley have a fairly long conversation. And first off, Mickey is like, look, I'm gonna be real. You probably want to stop spending so much time with Amy. It's very likely she's gonna go. And it probably just doesn't look that great that you're spending time with somebody who seemingly isn't really in the best position in the game right now. So they do discuss Zach and Morgan, and they start to get onto how Morgan really likes Zach, and it's very, very clear, but Zach doesn't really feel the same way. And they have quite a bit of a talk about that, and that's not the first time that comes up. They talk again about how Morgan very clearly likes Zach, very clearly has these feelings, but he is not feeling the same way. And as we know, Zach does like Lauren. Lauren's not interested in a showmance though, so it hasn't really gone anywhere. But overall, Mickey, she does not want to see Zach or Vinny make it to jury because they are going to be auto votes for Morgan. So Mickey does reveal that she does not feel like she can actually keep Amy over Adrian this week. And Morgan attempts to work on her as well and say, but wait, think about it. Think about it. Adrian is a comp beast. He's been in second every single time. If you keep him here, that's somebody that's going to win more than anything. But for Mickey, she's like, look, I'm going to be honest. I feel like Amy is an auto vote for Rachel if she makes it to jury. And I can't think that way. So there's a lot of people already starting to think about the jury this week. Again, I think this house, they game, and a lot of them think very long term, because even in their conversations, they're like, well, if you're HOH next week, who will you put up? If you're HOH in like 3 weeks, who are you going to put up? So I do think they think long term, which is pretty interesting. But lots of talk about jury votes and keeping this person or this person being a jury vote for this person, or this person can't make it to the jury. And I'm like, wow, we in week 2. But anyways. So Mickey does also fill Ava in on the 5-person alliance that she'd like to pitch between them two, Will, Morgan, and Ashley. They want to maybe have Vinny or Zach as a shield. However, Keanu's name is also brought up in this conversation as a potential shield. Ava's cool with it, but the only real person she does, or excuse me, Morgan is cool with it, but the only real person she doesn't trust is Ashley. So we shall see. Did this come to fruition? Let's jump into the next day of feeds. So this day on the feeds, pretty lax, but we still did get some game talk. Rachel does propose early in the morning to potentially work together with Ava. I think Ava, she doesn't really give an actual answer yet, but Rachel puts the feelers out there to see where things are going. Reilly also confirms to Ashley that no matter what, he is keeping Amy. So Ashley and Rachel have a conversation, and at this point, Ashley's like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like Morgan wants to keep Adrian over Amy. So at this point, Ashley is pretty sussed out with Morgan and even talks about wanting to cut her at some point because she feels like she's been doing a lot of things that are a little bit sus, such as wanting to potentially work with Keanu, wanting to potentially keep Adrian or cut Amy, just certain things that are not really in line with what she thought. She also recognizes that they need to rein Mickey in a little more because, again, remember, Mickey is another person who said, maybe we should potentially keep Adrian.
It's like we trust. Because who's really loyal to who?
Okay, I trust you.
So meanwhile, Adrian and Ashley are discussing the fact that, once again, why are they coming after Keanu if Keanu is not coming after them? Why get out this guy who everybody has he has a target on his back, everyone is targeting? Why are we doing that? So again, the Keanu stock continues to go up, and there are people who are just like, why are we getting Keanu out? Why are we doing that? So they start to get into scenarios again. A lot of people love to do scenarios in this house, and they go over different scenarios of who they would put up if either one of them gets HOH next week. Morgan and Vinny have a conversation, and as I told you, Kelly's bragging about how she got off the block while Will's on the block. Definitely has started to get on Morgan's nerves.
Making a lot of jokes
Like,
at
if
that
I was the
veto.
replacement mom, I would be
If I was Will,
fucking pissed.
yeah, if I was Will, I would be like,
You're fucking
is this funny?
disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's
Nerves definitely turned a sour taste in Morgan's mouth. And Vinny does discuss that he was close with Kelly, but right now she has started to irritate him. And Vinny has said that a couple of times. They're like, he likes Kelly, he's cool with her, but she is irritating. So again, Kelly, it's not looking great, Kelly, but in either event, they start to get into Keanu and all of his different lies and just how shady Keanu has really been. They also talk about how clueless he is in the game, how he'll bring up these delusional different scenarios. But Morgan says that the next people she wants to target specifically are Reilly, Kat, and Lauren, because she wants to separate that little group, and it also gives them the option of backdooring Keanu. So Morgan then jumps into the fact that this is really irritating, that Jimmy wanted this move to happen, but he's gonna have someone else in the alliance essentially have to take that move at Keanu. And again, Morgan talks about how she likes Jimmy, she wants to see him in jury, but he might not be the best person to keep around for the long haul. Overall, though, Morgan said that she wants Rachel to be in jury. And I was like, okay. So Rachel and Amy have a little conversation. Again, Amy is feeling, another one who's feeling pretty demotivated, and another one who's just I don't know. It feels like they're giving up essentially. So Amy talks about how this cast is much, much different than she thought. She wasn't really expecting them to be this way. She can't really explain what she's talking about, but she just thought things were going to look very, very different. Now, they do discuss that Vinny is completely on the other side at this point, and he's just a vote for where they are. But overall, Rachel's like, hey, look, you got to stay up, keep your head up, keep your head in the game, girlfriend. Like, you know, act like you're grateful to be here, essentially. But if you do happen to leave, can you please reach out to Brendan? They talk about her reaching out to Brendan on social media and just letting Brendan know that Rachel loves him so much. But overall, they are grateful for their friendship. They are grateful to be here. And once again, Rachel is just trying to motivate and uplift Amy. Morgan and Adrian. So Morgan has this pretty weird conversation with Adrian.
And I really like you. Like, you know, genuinely, like a lot. I don't ever want to put you up.
Yeah.
So I know Amy would never put me.
Where she essentially says, look, I'm gonna be real with you. I would say Will or Amy before you, but I'm not really coming after you. I'm not coming after you. There's like 5 people I would come for first if I was HOH over you. So even though I would not vote to keep you because you're a strong player, I wouldn't come after you, okay? I know that that's not my move. And I'm just like, it's giving Zay all over again, going up to people and telling them, well, I'm going to gun for you. I'm going to gun for you. But hey, can you do me a solid and make sure that if you get in power, that I'm safe? I just thought it was a really weird angle for a conversation, personally. At some point in this conversation, Morgan does even claim that she would like to work with Adrian. And I was like, what? It just felt very, very strange. Keanu, Vince, and Reilly have a pretty long conversation in the storage room. These 3 have sort of like a loose alliance going on. And boy, oh boy, a lot of people had a lot of different things to say. One person in particular who had a lot to say is Reilly, because Reilly hears that Morgan's been throwing his name around. He actually calls Morgan the B word. And I was like, ooh, he says he's gonna cut her head off, all these different times. He's effing coming for her, excuse me. And I was like, whoa, not calling her the B word. It was a lot. Reilly used some very colorful language in this conversation. I was like, ooh, okay. Adrian and Vinny have a brief talk, and Vinny talks about how Kelly has been going around talking about how she, Keanu, and him are paired together, and why she's essentially saying that, and she's wondering why people think that they're all voting in a chunk. But they do start to talk about the potential of votes once again, because they go through scenarios. So they talk about Ava, Kelly, him, and Lauren all being votes to keep him to stay, in addition to Zach and Catherine. So Keanu joins this conversation, and again, it just goes around in the typical Keanu rigmarole. Essentially, though, Keanu says he needs him to stay. He needs him to stay. But in this conversation, a lot of the theme, again, of Adrian is like, everyone's hoping he's gonna win, so that way that they have to decide against Will and Amy. I think a lot of people are not prepared for Adrian versus one of the 2 of them. I think they all are hoping, hey, Adrian, just take yourself off the block. We don't even have to deal with that. I don't know. We saw what happened to Zay last week when that was the mind process. So if you're Adrian, which I will give it, Adrian was definitely going around having his little conversations yesterday. He was definitely trying to talk to people. He was definitely trying to put some effort in. I was just like, dang, Adrian, this is the first time we've seen you play in the game, basically, though. The whole time we've been here. So Zach, Morgan, Rachel, Jimmy, HOH crew, they're having a conversation about the vote.
I'm sorry, have you guys heard the ridiculous shit Keanu's been saying this week?
Yeah.
Well, okay, he goes, I might be one of the best players in Big Brother history.
Okay.
As you know, Morgan, she's like, well, Adrian, you know, he's going to be always a vote for the other side. He's always going to be a vote for the other side. And they, of course, get onto Keanu's delusional nature. I feel like I'm delusional talking about it, but they get on to Keanu and how delusional he is, and it's the same old conversation. Now, Morgan is like, look, we should keep Amy because here's the thing. Amy will always fill a block spot. Amy will always be there. If we don't have Amy there, then we have to decide at least one other person who we're going to put on the block all the time. Jimmy's like, yeah, but the thing is, I don't think that Adrian is coming for me. So I don't really know if getting Adrian out is the best route. And Morgan's like, you believe that though? So Jimmy starts to be like, you know, I don't want to see Will or Amy leave. And Morgan's like, well, you shouldn't have put him up then. You shouldn't have put them up then. And Jimmy's like, oh my God, I get it. You always tell me that. You've told me that a million times. I get it. I understand. I was in a tough position this week. I had to put up 5 people. They start to get into it a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know. Jimmy, there were other options though, Jimmy. There were other options for you though. We gotta be real. There were other options for you. So Ashley and Will are talking, and Ashley has noticed how Vinny and Zach have been together all day, and she's also sort of picked up on some of these late night conversations that have been going on between Morgan, Vinny, and Zach. And so now Ashley is a little bit paranoid, and she actually feels like this is going to cause her to keep Amy over Adrian due to this entire situation. So again, flip-flopping. We're never gonna know. But lastly, Adrian does continue his chats. So he lets Mickey know that he would put up Keanu, Rachel, and Morgan if he gets HOH, and then Kat if he needed a backdoor option. So Mickey does warn him a little bit, and it's like, I don't know if this is the right time to take shots at Rachel. And again, that's the general energy that a lot of people want to take shots at Rachel, and they feel that it's a good decision. They just don't know quite the right timing of it. But Adrian does also speak with Rachel and let her know that his target is Keanu. So that is sort of where we end the night off. We have quite a few, I think, sort of divided groups. One thing that I could say for sure is that, you know, we have kind of the Zach side of things, then we have the Rachel side of things, and I will say that I think that the girl side is getting way more fractured. There's a lot of fracturing going on that side right now, so we will have to see. We'll have to tune in. I do think that definitely today, Wednesday, the rest of the day, and the little bit we'll see Thursday morning should hopefully give us some insight into what a lot of people are thinking. So if you made it to this point in the video, that means you like the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for the support, and I will talk to you guys in my next feed recap. Bye.